All right, everyone. Now it's time to weigh in on the Iran-Israel situation and Trump's, response to it. He seems to be trying to keep calm. That is, talk to Netanyahu, try to broker a deal with the Iranians, try to avoid any further escalation. That's probably helpful because it could literally cause World War III. While it's unlikely, the fact that we're even discussing the possibility is itself concerning. Link in the description, archived of course. Trump is apparently considering giving GBU 57A bunker busters to the Israelis. This would allow them to strike nuclear facilities far more effectively, although I don't think that the munitions that are being used right now aren't causing damage underground anyway. The shock wave from some of these explosives is significant enough to disrupt systems that are deep underground. I think that bunker busters would be effective, but should we be giving them to the Israelis? The original reports from the legacy media, well, the U.S. might go in and drop bunker busters on these targets. It'll take a couple of hits in order to penetrate completely, but, we could wipe out their nuclear facilities. I thought to myself, this is not our war. I don't want it to be our war. Sounds expensive. Sounds dangerous. We might end up in a situation where an American plane gets downed and we get humiliated, actually. Also, Iran could then haul off and fire off 1,000 barrages of missiles and shit at Israel. That provides us with a unique problem because then, centrally speaking, we'd be directly involved and might get blamed for the melee if any mistakes happen. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is if you simply sell or give bunker busters to the Israelis. Number one, I'm not sure that they have planes in their arsenal capable of actually carrying and deploying them. We've only got a few planes in our arsenal that are capable of doing so. You can't drop one of these out of an A-10, for example. It'd be physically impossible for it to get off the ground because they're so large and heavy. So that's another problem. We give them to the Israelis. Let's say we give them a dozen bunker busters, say, go wild, drop them on Iranian nuclear targets. What if they decide to drop one on Tehran or something like that because they're already talking about killing Khomeini? Again, I am not Team Iran, just to be clear. Iran is an autocratic regime with extremely stringent authoritarian rules. I'm also not Team Israel. I don't believe in the Holy Land nonsense and we must defend them greatest ally bullshit either. So I don't really have a side in this fight. But if you give the Israelis bunker busters, you're clearly picking a side in the fight. And I don't think that while it would be something that any administration would be pressured to do, and has been since literally the 1950s, at the same time, is it helpful? Does it help the average American citizen? No. Does it build a border wall? Does it deport illegals? Does it reduce crime? Does it create more wealth? Does it reduce inflation? No, it doesn't help us in any particular way whatsoever. I mean, I suppose if you sell the weapons, you can make a little bit of moolah, but how many bunker busters would you actually need to sell? Probably just one cargo plane full or something like that. And so it's really completely unnecessary at this point. While Iran is targeting lots of Israeli targets, they just bombed a hospital last night, actually. Well, last night our time, of course, yesterday their time. While the Iranians are scoring some hits, it is a lopsided battle. Iran doesn't want further escalation because it knows that it cannot win. Because if it pushes Israel too far, they'll call in their bigger buddies, namely the USA. So Iran is trying to tiptoe through the tulips at the moment. So strike here, a couple of rocket barrages, 90% of which get hit by Iron Dome anyway, and then they call it a day. The escalations are sheer. If Iran collapses, and trust me, the Iranian regime might very well collapse if enough damage is done. It looks to be destabilizing literally now. You've got a bigger problem, which is that other meanies within the region will seize control. It'll be worse off than under the current regime, probably. We've seen this before. We saw it in Libya. We almost saw it in Tunisia, and we saw it briefly in Egypt until the military reasserted control. and forced out the Brotherhood there. We've seen it in Syria. We see the results of, the removal of Assad. We've almost seen it in other regions of the world. These sorts of actions are not generally helpful. The whole point is that the stability, it's better the devil you know, in other words. Yes, Iran says death to America. They don't have the ability to kill me, now do they? Yeah, maybe some sleeper agent stabs me in an alleyway or something, but I can't imagine why they would be incentivized to do so. I simply don't understand why any reasonable, rational person would think that it would be a good idea to, number one, invade Iran. That would be an absolute shit show. That would really be the worst case scenario. Let's put it that way, to put it bluntly. Um, Number two, to run sorties or an air campaign or something like that. Hell, look at the USS Liberty. Sometimes when Israel and the US are doing things jointly, bad things happen. And they're always supposedly accidents, by the way. Just saying. So I don't think that we really need to get further involved. I don't believe in funding Israel at all at this point. They've already subdued Palestine. That much is quite clear. And they're already holding their own against the Iranians. Why should I even be interested in destroying Iranian nuclear facilities when the Israelis have wiped out virtually all of the surface operations at the very least and made these locations effectively unusable to begin with? Well, you've already accomplished 90% of your goal anyway. Supposedly, you don't want to invade Iran or have a further escalation. You can't physically invade them on land, so that's sort of off the table. You've already gained the ability to strike them without significant retaliation in most cases. So what gives? Why do you need bunker busters? That sounds like a very, very bad idea. If anything, you might get Shiite sleeper cells in the United States hitting some targets if we do that. That's probably, I think that we've antagonized the Iranians already. I think that might put them over the edge. And they do not require a significant chain of command to act. I'm sure that they're already carefully observing CNN reels as we speak. That's about all. Peace out.